opponents 121-39. Their closest game was October 17th, where they squeaked past Louisville 12-7. The very next week, they throttled Pittsburgh, largest margin of victory in a road game for Notre Dame since 2003. That sets up next week, #1 Clemson visiting South Bend. Will Trevor Lawrence, though, be available for the Tigers? You're watching the ACC on ESPN. Clemson about to knock off Boston College in a close game. Tigers 6-0 in conference play. Notre Dame the only other unbeaten in the ACC at 4-0. And hello, everybody. Dave Pasch coming to you from Arizona. Mike Golick is in Bristol. I'd love to have some of that candy, but for me to get to you, it'd take about a day. Let's talk about this game. And, you know, Clemson, Notre Dame, everybody wants to talk about that ball game. But in order for that game to mean anything for Notre Dame, the Irish have to get by their opponent today in Georgia Tech.
Have to take care of business today, and they also have to start improving upon their passing game. Running game is going well. Passing game, first 4 games in a season, averaging under 180 yards a game. Now, this last game, Ian Book threw for over 300 yards. He's going to need to channel that Steve Young outfit and keep this passing game going. They finally got to go where they want to be at the end of the year. We know when it's Notre Dame, they talk about national championships. To be in that position, the passing game has got to become more consistent, and it's going to start with that man right there, number 12.
And we will see Ian Book momentarily. Georgia Tech won the toss and deferred, so Notre Dame will get the football first. Georgia Tech wearing its black watch defense outfits. More on that later as Tyree had trouble collecting the opening kickoff. Still does a pretty good job, though, to get it out near the 20-yard line. All right, let's check in with our man on the ground in Atlanta at the stadium. Here's Marty Smith.
Dave, Mike, everyone, good afternoon. Rare as the unicorn is the football coach who actually encourages his players to look ahead to a broader goal. Well, Brian Kelly admitted to us this week that that's what he's doing this year at Notre Dame. He said, I got to get these kids to understand how good they are and how good they can be. He said, we run the ball really well. We defend the run really well, and that's a great recipe. So in order to get there, he said it's performance over outcome. It's not who we play, it's how we play. That has to be the standard.
And on the first play, Book finds Javon McKinley, so they come out throwing and get about 4 or 5 yards on the first play from scrimmage.
Yeah, and I really think, Dave, that they're going to want to get this passing game going. As I mentioned in the open, it started to get going next week, and they need to improve upon it and get more consistent with it, and I think this is a game they'll use to do that.
They go empty here on 2nd down and 7. Book with time and completes it to the outstanding true freshman tight end Michael Mayer. Well defended, though, by David Curry of Georgia Tech, and that puts Notre Dame in 3rd down. That's the 13th catch on the year for Mayer. They have a lot of talented weapons on the perimeter for Ian Book.
A lot of tight ends. They may use 5 different tight ends today. We'll get into it as well. This has been tight end U for a number of years.
So 3rd down and 2. Kyron Williams in the backfield with Book. Off play action. Book has an easy completion for a 1st down out to the 34-yard line. That's 2 catches already for Mayer. He had 5 a week ago against Pitt.
Did you see that rushing attack? They average 231 yards a game. They have that down. As Brian Kelly said, we're running the ball well. We're stopping the run well. Now we need to evolve in the other areas. We'll get to defense, but offense, that's the passing game. And that's why you're seeing these short passes early before they get to the running game.
Here comes a jet sweep to Tyree. A flag is down. Tyree into Georgia Tech territory where he fumbled the ball. Notre Dame appears to have recovered it. Good hustle by Kyron Williams downfield to cover it up. Again, a penalty marker is down.
Yeah, it's coming back. That's going to be holding on Notre Dame on the initial block to break him free that he cut in front of.
Holding, offense, 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Repeat 1st down.
This could have been big at the end of the play for Georgia Tech if they could have jumped on that ball. See, right at the end, good job ripping the ball out. Excellent job by Trey Swilling. That's a familiar name to you. His dad, Pat, played at Georgia Tech in the NFL for a whole bunch of years. Good job there, but Notre Dame gets back on the ball, keeps control, but now at 1st and 20.
And those jerseys being worn by Georgia Tech were the jerseys worn by Trey's dad, Pat, when he played at Georgia Tech. So 1st and 20, another pass play here from Book, and he's able to hit Avery Davis, get a little bit of it back. Quez Jackson on the tackle.
Yeah, we'll definitely get into the jerseys and how it all came to be back in the mid-'80s for Georgia Tech and why they're wearing them as they have Notre Dame and a nice 2nd and long here. Good opportunity for them.
Book back to throw again here and is able to step up and cut down at the 34-yard line, bringing up 3rd down. We welcome you, those of you who just watched #1 Clemson escape against Boston College. Clemson plays Notre Dame next week, along with former Fighting Irish defensive lineman Mike Golick Sr., Marty Smith, who is in Atlanta. Mike is in Bristol, Dave Pasch here in Arizona. Notre Dame, which has won 11 straight games, the longest active win streak in the country, facing a 3rd and 9 against Georgia Tech here on its opening drive. Book dumps it off, and a broken tackle close to the 1st down is McKinley, and it looks like he's able to move the chains. The big pickup there for Book and company through the air as they have come out and decided to throw the ball on every down here.
Yeah, one of their large receivers in McKinley had him in the slot on the left side. He just did a crossing route, and that's just like get the big man the ball and let him do the rest. You saw Matt at the end of the play, just got tripped up there, but did get enough for the 1st down.
They're going to run it here to Kyron Williams, and he's tackled for a loss of about 3 by true freshman Jared Ivey. Take a look at today's keys to the game, brought to you by Jared.
Well, again, as I mentioned at the top, continue to build on the passing momentum that they had last week against Pittsburgh and contain Jeff Sims. We'll talk about him on Georgia Tech side, the true freshman quarterback. And for Georgia Tech, you got a lot of young players playing. Do not be your own worst enemy. That's what cost them last week against Boston College.
Book to throw here on 2nd and 13. And it's caught into Georgia Tech territory. To the 47-yard line is Brock Wright. You talked about the fact that Notre Dame will employ 5 tight ends. We've seen 3 of them already in the game of the catch.
Yeah, that's something for Ian Book, and that's not a last choice. These tight ends are very, very prominent in this offense as your 1st and 2nd choice at times. They'll certainly take their shots deep, but the tight end a monster part both in the run game and in the pass game.
So a 5-minute drive to start the game. Try to keep the possession going here with a run play to Kyron Williams. And behind that huge offensive line for Notre Dame, able to get the 1st down. All upperclassmen. The only junior is Jarrett Patterson. The other guys are either seniors or grad students, including the outstanding left tackle Liam Eichenberg, who's making his 32nd career start.
Yeah, starting this game, all 5 today, they combined now are at 137 starts. An incredible veteran group for a school. I talked about tight ends that is very, very known for NFL linemen that they bring out of this college.
Yeah, Ronnie Stanley of the Ravens just got that huge contract the other day. Big hole here off the right side for Kyron Williams. Inside the 25 and thrown out of bounds at the 24-yard line. But the first big chunk play for Notre Dame offensively.
Nice block by the right tackle in Hainsey, number 72. Just a nice pushing outside, and for a Georgia Tech player, need to kind of constrict that hole to the outside. Gets a great push out, a great hole to run through, not even touched till the 3rd level.
Gain of 19 on the play for Williams, who averages over 100 yards per game. Book off play action, steps up to take off. And he gets clocked from behind at the 20-yard line by Jordan Dominic. But Book hops right to his feet, never afraid to run, has 13 career rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, Georgia Tech does have 11 sacks this year, and it's one thing for the other side for Ian Book that Coach Kelly talked about is, and Tommy Reese, the offensive coordinator, and even Ian himself, I need to hang in the pocket a little more before I take off. He's dangerous with his legs, but he would like to make the play with his arm. He said he has to be more cognizant to stay in the pocket and try and make a play.
Run play on 2nd down and 4. Tyree, and able to break the initial tackle. Looks like he'll come up a yard short of the line to gain on this 7-minute drive by Notre Dame to start the ball game.
Boy, but I love seeing all those black shirts for defense. That's a Jeff Collins defense right there. Jeff Collins is known for his defense, and along with his defensive coordinator Andrew Thacker, they love guys to the ball. You saw 6-7 jerseys on the ball, but another 3rd and short for Notre Dame. This would be a win given this long drive if Georgia Tech could hold them to a field goal attempt.
So far on this drive, Notre Dame 3 of 3 on 3rd down. They need a yard here, and they get it and more with Kyron Williams. Stood up by Wanye Thomas, but a fresh set of downs here for the Irish. Trying to get to 6-0 before their showdown in South Bend with Clemson next Saturday.
Well, we're seeing the balance here, and we've seen Notre Dame do this before, come out throwing the ball, actually throwing, then setting up the run, and what it does is it keeps the defense on their heels. And as we're going to talk about Georgia Tech more and the team that Jeff Collins is building just 2 years removed from a triple option team and a smaller size defense, a lot of young players out there.
So 1st and goal from the 10-yard line out of the pistol formation. Here is Williams. And dropped at the 8-yard line by Quez Jackson. So a pickup of 2 on the play for Williams.
That's going to be a big key for Georgia Tech this game, those linebackers, the 2 big tacklers, David Curry and Quez Jackson. Because this offensive line, as you mentioned, Dave, this is one of the top offensive lines. They'll be up for the Joe Moore Award as a top O-line in the country. They do well staying on their block. So these linebackers filling the holes is going to be so key for Georgia Tech, trying to slow the run game down.
Here's Book rolling out to his right. Pass to the end zone is caught for a touchdown. Joe Wilkins pulls it in. What a phenomenal drive to start the game for Notre Dame. It takes almost 9 minutes off the clock as Wilkins gets his first touchdown of the year. And we have an injured Georgia Tech player.
Just 4 catches on the year for Wilkins. That's his 5th and a big one for this 15-play opening drive for Notre Dame.
And those 4 catches you mentioned came in the season opener. So Wilkins back being a factor here in week 6. Charlie Thomas, the injured Georgia Tech player, and you could tell there he was shaken up, trying to cover the receiver coming out of his break. BC presented by PlayStation 5. Outstanding opening drive by Notre Dame. 15 plays, tying its longest drive of the season. Ian Book with a touchdown pass to Joe Wilkins. Book went 7 for 7 through the air on that first possession. There was an injured player for Georgia Tech, Charlie Thomas. And so they'll kick the extra point now with Jonathan Dorr. Almost 9 minutes off the clock on the first drive of the game. The extra point, though, is good, but barely inside that right upright to make it 7-zip. Notre Dame, Irish trying to get to 6-0. Clemson next week. Off to a great start this season. Their first 3 games they dominated 121-39. They outscored their opponents. They struggled against Louisville but escaped and then throttled Pitt the very next week. The largest margin of victory in a road game for Notre Dame since 2003. Of course, next week Clemson. Will Trevor Lawrence be back after testing positive for COVID-19? Clemson able to get past Boston College. As far as passing the test for potential trap game for Notre Dame today against Georgia Tech, so far so good for the Irish after that impressive first drive.
I mean, Dave, you can't draw it up any better. 91 yards. They start behind the normal 25-yard line. They're 91 yards, 15 plays, 8 runs, 7 passes, and of the passes, Ian Book completed them all. Talked about its completion percentage being under 60%. This is the kind of consistency. Even they were shorter passes, that's fine. To have a drive like that. Now the defense, which has really been the stars of this year for Notre Dame, takes the field.
Giving up less than 10 points per game, and on the very first play, they take down the running back Jameer Gibbs for a loss on the play. Tagovailoa Amosa and Dalen Hayes in there defensively for Notre Dame as you look at true freshman quarterback Jeff Sims, originally committed to Florida State. And those passing yards are the most through 6 games at Georgia Tech in 19 years. Now, part of that is because they haven't had really a passing offense in a long time, running the triple option. Here's Sims taking off. He's an excellent runner, and he heads out of bounds around the 30, picking up 5.
And Sims has run the ball. That's his 70th run of the year. 275 yards, 4 touchdowns. Gang, he is going to be fun to watch.
Defense,
again,
number
true
9,
freshman.
5-yard penalty. Repeat second down.
As Dalen Hayes, who made the play on the first play, was offside. You saw him jumping there on the second play. But there's 3 true freshmen starting here with Sims, the running back Jameer Gibbs, and the right tackle Jordan Williams, who's been a big-time standout for them. But Sims, big at 6'4", can make any throw, can run the ball. He's dangerous as well. So, and just a true freshman, a lot of time in front of him.
Handoff here on second down and 5 to Gibbs. He'll come up a couple of yards short of the line to gain, dragged down by Drew White. And talking with the Georgia Tech coaches, they think Jeff Sims eventually will be a first-round pick. Now that's asking a lot of a guy that is fairly removed from high school as they pick up the first down here running it with Gibbs. But to your point earlier on Sims, I mean, he looks the part as both a runner and a passer. He's got 2 quality wins. Florida State, they hammered Louisville, the team that Notre Dame barely beat.
You have to understand what this team is doing and what Jeff Collins is doing. We'll talk about a lot during this game. 2 years removed from a triple option, so the type of players they need to bring in are not option players, from O-line to D-line to terminology to method to plays. So this is going to be, it's going to take some time. You're going to see a lot of young players, as Dalen Hayes in on another tackle there. It is going to take some time. Jeff Collins was successful when he was a coach at Temple, knows the type of players he needs here, and he's going with young guys to get that experience in this new system.
2 yards on the carry there for Gibbs. So here is second down and 8 at the Georgia Tech 41-yard line. Sims trying to set up a screen that was snuffed out. And down goes Gibbs. You saw the whiff by Hayes, but Tagovailoa Amosa did not whiff.
Oh, what a great duck by Gibbs. And again, you'll see him coming out of the backfield. Another true freshman, a lot. Get the ball in his hands. He ducks below that tackle. But there, Notre Dame will give you that shorter pass and that underneath pass, and they all then converge and run to the ball extremely well.
Loss of 5 on the play. Third down and 13. Sims looking to take off here. Now backs up and throws it. And it's incomplete. You saw McLeod, the grad transfer from NC State, there in coverage for Notre Dame to force a punt.
Obviously very difficult for this offense with young players on it, from running back to quarterback to an excellent sophomore receiver in a Marion Brown that we'll talk about, to put them in third and long situations against one of the top defenses in the country.
And here's something you don't see every day, a 260-pound punter. But Presley Harvin is one of the best in college football. 2-time Ray Guy National Player of the Week already this season. Not the best kick there, though. Fair catch made at the 33-yard line for Notre Dame. 7-0 Irish in front of Tech late in the first.
ABC is presented by PlayStation 5. Play has no limits.
So you got Javon McKinley, Trace Willing, Bo Bauer, but this is Kyle Hamilton. This guy's going to be in the NFL in a couple of years. That picture will live on in infamy there of Urkel.
It's awesome.
I saw you dressed as Moses today.
Yes, I was. No commandments, just candy.
On first down, they run Flemister, and he picks up about 4 or 5 yards. The one-time Georgia Tech commit who's from Williamson, Georgia, on the run.
So you know it's just going to be a matter of time before they try and get that running game going after the first drive, where we saw 7 for 7 out of Ian Book. 4 to the wide receivers, 3 to the tight ends. And we'll get into it. The wide receivers, kind of the new group, the top 3 receivers from last year, all gone. So he's got a new group he started out with this year.
Run it here on 2nd down and 5. Flemister stacked up after a pickup of 2.
So, you know, here, Tommy Rees, the offensive coordinator, he played under Brian Kelly. He played in the national championship game, the game that my sons Mike and Jake were on that team against Alabama. Played quarterback a year or so past that as well. Played under Brian Kelly. Then was out of football after the Washington football team released him, and then got into coaching. We'll get into where he was in coaching, but all the way now to a very young coordinator calling the plays.
A wide receiver screen on 1st down, or on 3rd down rather, and they pick up a 1st down. Avery Davis, 3 catches last week against Pitt, 2 already today against Georgia Tech.
One thing about Notre Dame receivers and tight ends, you better be able to block, and they love these quick passes. They get the linemen out in front of them as well. These linemen are very active and stay on their feet very well. Give a nice wall to run behind. Everybody helps one another with the blocking downfield.
Ian Book, 8 of 8 so far. Play action here. Book in trouble, and down he goes back at the 46-yard line. 2 Tech defenders in the backfield led by Caleb Oliver. You also saw Jamon Brooks, a walk-on who wasn't even recruited back there for Georgia Tech.
You look at Notre Dame has just given up 9 sacks this year. That now number 10, tight end Brock Wright, getting beat on the outside to force Ian Book to step up into the arms of the big guy. There you go, the big man. My son Mike always talks about that. If you're going to wear 0, he wants it to be a D tackle who's over 300 pounds. Meet 6'1", 305, Jamon Brooks.
Book on 2nd and 14, flag down, ball is out, and it's recovered by the Yellow Jackets. Jordan Dominic with the recovery for Georgia Tech. Let's see what the flag's about, though.
Fumble recovery by Georgia Tech. Personal foul. Illegal hands to the face. Georgia Tech. 15-yard penalty. Automatic 1st down.
So this, Dave, is what we talk about. Jeff Collins laid out 6 plays last week that were worth in the area of 42 points for Boston College in their game with Georgia Tech. Look at the center of the screen. The hands up in the face, into the face of Tommy Kramer. That was the man I was just talking about, Jamon Brooks. But this is a big play that's taken away. They had a 98-yard kickoff return taken away by a penalty. They hurt themselves, and that's something that can't be done with a young crew, a crew that's an underdog in these games. You have to make plays for yourself, and here they try to do it, and it goes against them with that penalty.
So the question is, was it an incomplete pass? Was the hand going forward? I think that's going to impact, I guess, ball placement here, whether it was a fumble, since it was a live ball foul, or whether the hand was going forward. It was an incomplete pass. But just to follow up on your point, Mike, about Georgia Tech killing itself this year. I mean, the penalties are one thing. 18 turnovers, that's 2nd in the country. Only Duke has more. But 6 block kicks in 6 games. They've had 4 field goals and 2 extra points blocked this year. And
it was a combination of penetration up the middle and low kicks. You know, as Jeff Collins says, you know, special teams, he treats just like offense to defense, and said how much work they've needed to work on that, which again was cut short because of COVID.
After further review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. The penalty enforcement results in an automatic down.
So this is something that's just going to have to come over time, again, with a young group. Now, Jamon Brooks is a 5th-year senior who had that penalty, so that certainly hurts there with an older guy. But these are all learning lessons that he's going through with these players. I like what he's doing. I loved talking to him. I love his passion. He knows exactly what he wants, and he has to have these guys learn from these experiences.
Final minute here of the opening quarter. First down to the Georgia Tech 30. Play fake for Book. Taking a shot here and thrown over the head of Skoranek. But a big play in the win at Pitt last week. Grad transfer from Northwestern.
See, those are the plays with Ian Book. At times he leaves plays on the field. That's one. You have a 6'3" receiver in Skoranek, as you mentioned, with a couple of touchdowns. Give him a chance. Give him a chance on a 50-50 ball to out-jump the defender, but you don't do it when you throw it out of bounds.
Yeah, Trey Swilling there in coverage. Second down and 10. Another pass play here from Book. Unloads downfield, and the catch made at the 15. Javon McKinley, very active. 3 catches already here in the first half.
He again is a crossing route, is one of his first catches. Another middle route there. They like him across the middle. He's a big body, can box out if need be. Again, the pass there a little low. If it's a little higher, you maybe continue running on the throw. But another completion. 9 of 10 Ian Book for 80 yards. Exactly what the doctor ordered for this passing game that started to come out of its shell better last week against Pitt.
312 yards for Book in that win against Pitt, as they run the ball here on first down and get maybe a couple of yards. Good job of the point of attack by Georgia Tech defensively. But Notre Dame dominant on offense in that opening quarter. A near 9-minute long drive with Joe Wilkins paying it off with a touchdown catch. Notre Dame looking for more when we go to the second quarter. 7-zip Irish. As the Notre Dame head coach turned 59 years old last Sunday. 28-3 record in the last 31 games, and one of those losses was against Clemson in the college football playoff. For this year only, Notre Dame a member of the ACC, even though they do play normally a number of ACC foes. Top 2 teams in the ACC will play in the ACC championship game. Notre Dame faces Clemson next week in South Bend. Here's Kyron Williams off the left side on second down and 8. Ball pops free, and it's recovered by Georgia Tech. Scooped up by Zamari Walton. Nobody's going to catch him. Scoop and score for Walton. A chance to tie the game for Tech.
You can absolutely tell how they have been coached on defense with Andrew Thacker and the aggressiveness. It is about pulling the ball free. That time it was Wanye Thomas. We saw Trey Swilling cause a fumble earlier in the game. You get guys wrapping the carry, the ball carrier, and other guys going for the ball. Great job. That is absolutely taught by the coaches and done to perfection by that Georgia Tech defense.
By Georgia Tech. Previous play is under further review.
It's under review. That means we could watch it again and say, what a great play that was defensively.
It didn't look like Kyron Williams was down when the ball came out.
I did not think he was down again. No, that ball looks tough to tell from that angle. You see the ball out, but we couldn't tell where Kyron was. But look at all the jerseys around him.
I mean, here's the thing, too. I mean, the ruling on the field is a fumble, and if we don't have indisputable video evidence beyond all doubt, there's no way they're going to overturn that.
No shot they're overturning that. Just a great job by Thomas ripping that ball out as Williams is going down. He's clearly stopped. 1, 2, 3 are there. Williams is trying to drive for more yards, which is what a running back does. And Thomas doing exactly what he's coached. Rip that ball out.
Notre Dame coming into this game was outscoring opponents in the second quarter 73-6. And Georgia Tech just matched it on that run back by Walton. We'll get the official number on how long of a return it was. But
after further review, the ruling on the field stands. Touchdown.
So Notre Dame, a team which doesn't make a lot of mistakes, and Georgia Tech usually on the giving end of the turnover deal, able to come up with a huge takeaway that maybe changes this game dramatically.
Well, in their 2 wins this year, they were in the plus category in turnovers, and their losses All their losses, they were minus. So we'll keep a big eye on that. Some things never change, and that's what turnovers, how they can affect the game.
93-yard fumble return for a touchdown. Point after is good. We are tied at 7. Zamari Walton with the run back. And an into Georgia Tech player. Let's go to the studio. And Kevin, that's big when you consider they lost to Rutgers last week to bounce back and beat their rivals Michigan today. So injured Georgia Tech player Kenny Cooper, offensive lineman, down for the Yellow Jackets.
Matchup on Halloween night as the Buckeyes creep into Happy Valley under a full moon. Get ready for chills on Saturday Night Football.
Boy, Ohio State looked great week 1. Penn State trying to bounce back after losing to Indiana. Zamari Walton, a school record 93-yard fumble return for a touchdown. We saw a fumble return for a touchdown for Boston College of 90+ in its game against Clemson. That boosted the Eagles' confidence. They were in the game till the end. We'll see if this play by Walton changes things now for Georgia Tech, which was getting completely dominated through 1 quarter of play. Here's Chris Tyree for Notre Dame, a nice return.
So let's look back at this fumble return, and for those out there that maybe were saying, well, wait a minute, was his momentum stopped? And should it have been blown dead? Well, it wasn't on the field, and when it goes to replay, that can't be replayed. They can't look at the replay and say, well, maybe his momentum was stopped. That's not under replay and can't be reviewed, but that can. And that was the exact right call. Great job again. Stripping the ball by Wanye Thomas, and Zamari Walton with the new school record.
Kyron Williams back in the game here, and it's a jet sweep pitch, and Jordan Dominic is not fooled, throwing Avery Davis down to the ground for a loss.
We've already called his name a couple of times, Jordan Dominic, not getting fooled on the jet sweep. Again, not being blocked at all and getting upfield. Taking away any chance to get to the corner quickly, making the runner retreat south of North and South, and then makes the play as well.
So a 5-yard setback, 2nd down and 15 for the Irish. Book in trouble, almost runs into Kyron Williams. Now takes off of the sideline. Got a lot of running room. Out of bounds around the 30, so he picks up close to 10 on that play. They'll be in a 3rd and manageable situation here. And a tie ball game early in the 2nd quarter in Atlanta.
Obviously, Notre Dame, which had the long first drive, would like to maintain that clock control. Georgia Tech would love to force a punt here. And Ian Book, so one thing we talk about, maybe an inconsistent passing game at times, but he does that so well with his legs to put them in manageable situations.
Notre Dame perfect so far on 3rd down. 22-year-old quarterback. California grad student, 25-3 as a starter, as the Irish quarterback has an open man here. It's Davis for a 1st down. There is a penalty flag in the secondary, though, at the 46-yard line.
While we see what the flag is, we always talk about an offensive line when you talk about protecting the quarterback.
First foul, face mask. Number 3, defense. 15-yard penalty from end of the run. Automatic 1st down.
Again, that's
Trey Swilling with the face mask penalty, tack on 15 more for Notre Dame.
Again, you know, we saw something good happen to Georgia Tech, but too many of these type of plays. This is already a completed pass. It was going to be a big gain.
It was off the away from the ball.
Away from the ball.
Downfield, and a late thrown flat. Notre Dame now at the 42-yard line of Georgia Tech, and a big hole here for Williams. Picks up 9 on the play.
That's the old reliable for Notre Dame, just running behind one of the better O-lines in the country. Times you forget about that. You see plays on the outside and such that every now and then they could just take the ball and run it.
They're averaging over 230 rushing yards a game, 15 rushing touchdowns this year. They'll give it to Williams again. Gets the first down and more. Now they're just leaning on him here. Notre Dame trying to get to 5-0 in conference play. Clemson with that win earlier today against Boston College, setting up the showdown between these two top 5 teams in South Bend next week. Miami and North Carolina both 4-1 in league play. And again, no divisions this year in the ACC. Top 2 teams will play in Charlotte for the ACC championship game on December 19th. Gain of 11 on Williams on that last play. And here comes a jet sweep to Tyree with blockers out in front. Lowers the boom on the defender at the 5-yard line. It'll be first and goal for the Irish.
Leading the way there, Tommy Tremble, 11 starts in his career. And again, multiple tight ends they use. Look at him out front, sustaining that block. Sustaining, just driving, staying on, not letting the defender come off. That opens it up for a running back who was already so free and not getting touched anyway. Nice stable of running backs for Notre Dame, including that youngster right there, the true freshman.
Right, you got Tyree, Williams, Flemister. They have Jafar Armstrong, but Brian Kelly told us we may see him more at receiver this week.
That's actually what he was recruited for, as a receiver, and moved to running back, now going to play some receiver.
First and goal from the Georgia Tech 2-yard line. And they just plow straight ahead, and it's an easy touchdown for Kyron Williams. Nice response by Notre Dame after the scoop and score from Walton.
Wow, I mean, you're talking right over Aaron Banks, 330 pounds. Liam Eichenberg, 300 pounds. Just getting on a man and not letting them off. Jared Patterson as well. Just an excellent job of staying on your man, driving. That's textbook 2-yard run. Stay up, drive your man, lean on him. Let your running back just fall into the end zone.
So, Mike, you had that 91-yard drive to start the game, and then now a 75-yard drive. This one took a lot shorter than the other one. Just 3:48 off the clock. Point after makes it 14-7 Notre Dame. Well, at Bobby Dodd Stadium, Georgia Tech has won 17 times against AP top 10 opponents. The last win was against Clemson back in 2011. Clemson was ranked number 6 that year. One of the bigger upsets actually wasn't a win. It was a tie between unranked Georgia Tech and number 1 Notre Dame in 1980, 3-3.
Thought we had an agreement not to show things like that today. So, I don't know. Nobody cares what I think, huh?
It's the truck. It was all them. I had nothing to do with it.
They're not getting any candy.
See how Georgia Tech responds after Notre Dame with a rushing touchdown. This will be a touchback. We'll come out to the 25. Let's check in with Marty Smith.
Dave, rare as the unicorn is the football coach who actually encourages his players and his team to look ahead. But Brian Kelly told us this week that's what he's doing this year with this Notre Dame Fighting Irish team. He said, I got to get these guys to realize how good they are and how good they can be. We're Notre Dame. We win. We're past the thrill of winning. It's what we do. The thing is, we've won inconsistently, and if we want to be champions, we have to become more consistent. And the way that they do that is this equation, he said. Performance over outcome. It's not who we play, it's how we play. That has to be the standard, and if that is indeed our standard, we have the opportunity to be really special this year.
And Marty, Ian Book told us, hey, it's refreshing as a player to be able to talk big picture, not always have to say, we're just taking it one game at a time. Gain of 3 for Jack Coco on the reception. Now they run it here on second down. A huge hit by Gibbs against a Notre Dame defender. He'll come up just short of the line to gain third down.
Oh, Gibbs 5'11", 200-pounder again, true freshman. Watch this drop in the shoulder.
That was Owusu Koromoa, is an excellent player. He got toasted that time.
Owusu Koromoa, you are going to see on Sundays early in the draft and see him playing on Sundays. And he tried to shoulder tackle Gibbs, bounced off a bit, and then made a nice gain.
On 3rd down and 2, that'll be close and definitely marked short of the line to gain. 4th down here from the 34-yard line.
Well, that's one. I mean, well, your defense been on the field a lot already, Dave. You've had the ball for just under 4 minutes. Really needed that 1st down there to give your defense a little more of a break. Now 4th and a half a yard at your own 34-yard line there, punt.
Matt Salerno is deep for Notre Dame here. Presley Harvin, only a 29-yard punt first time around. And it'll be Notre Dame ball near its 25-yard line. Let's check in with Kevin Nagandi.
Oklahoma State, Dave, that only team undefeated in the Big 12. No, that defense, the way they're playing this year, very aggressive.
And we had them, I know it was against Kansas, but still, they played a complete game that day and pretty much half throughout. Tulsa gave them a scare early on, a game that was postponed and then made up. Here it's 14-7 Notre Dame. The lone score for Georgia Tech came on defense. Here is Book dumping it underneath. And it's a 1st down catch for Tommy Tremble, one of those other tight ends. Tremble, coaches think might be faster than Michael Mayer, who gets a lot of the accolades, but Tremble able to move the chains there. And don't forget our ABC Prime game, Ohio State, Penn State, following us here on ABC.
We're looking forward to that matchup. Still, Penn State stinging over that loss last week to Indiana. They need this one. 2 losses right out of the gate. It's going to pretty much knock you out of it.
Play action here for Ian Book, and has to just throw it in the dirt as that screen pass was snuffed out by Mike Lockhart. Mike, going back to what Marty was saying about Brian Kelly, what are your thoughts on kind of looking big picture, not always saying we're just going to focus on the opponent this week, but we're going to talk about Clemson. We're going to talk about winning an ACC championship, a national championship.
Well, as we see what they do here on 2nd and 10. Good job by
there, stuffed by Georgia Tech's front. 3rd down.
I think one of the first things, Dave, is first you have a very veteran team that can handle things like that. And second, we're in the day and age where you can't hide these things. You know, you go back to the Stone Ages when I played. I mean, you know, the sports was local sports for their minute and a half. You know, ESPN was only a few years old. There wasn't a lot of national talk about games where they tried to keep it in-house. Here, all these guys see it on social media, articles everywhere. Everybody knows it's coming. So Brian Kelly is basically saying, okay, you know it's coming, but understand we need to play better against the Georgia Techs and other teams of the world, play better here and do better to prepare ourselves for the big games.
Flag down here. Book on 3rd down and 10, just going to keep it, and gets wrapped up at the line of scrimmage by Curry and Jackson. It'll be 4th down unless it's a penalty on Georgia Tech.
Yeah, I think this is going to be holding on Notre Dame. It'll be declined, be 4th down. Notre Dame is going to punt. So
holding, number 78, offense, penalties decline, 4th down.
I understand.
Timeout, injured Georgia Tech player.
Another Georgia Tech player down. I do understand what Brian Kelly is doing by saying, guys, we all know it's there, but understand the meaning of that game is significantly less if you don't take care of business now. Much to what we were talking about earlier that Marty was mentioning, that, you know, it's about performance over outcome. You have to play better consistently. Notre Dame wants to be with the top teams in the country. Those top teams consistently play really good to great ball. Notre Dame needs to do that against all their opponents, not just when they're going to have a big game, because they have struggled against top opponents.
Amarian Brown is deep. Dangerous player with the ball in his hands. But a return of only 5 yards. Brought down by Isaiah Pryor. 14-7. Notre Dame midway through the second quarter.
Football presented by PlayStation 5 on ABC is brought to you by Coca-Cola Zero Sugar. Together tastes better. And Pacific Life. More than 150 years strong. Trust in your tomorrow.
On Thursday, Halloween party for Children's Healthcare of Atlanta. As Sims dumps it off here on first down. Penalty marker is down. So is Amarian Brown. After a gain of about 8, and he's shaken up.
It's like Notre Dame.
Penalties on Notre Dame.
Yeah, they lined up off sides as Brown is slow to get up.
Offside. Defense, number 41. 5-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
So that's on Kurt Heinisch. As you look at Jeff Collins, we were showing you the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta. Every time there is a third or fourth down stop, call the money down, and he literally puts his money where his mouth is. He donates $10 every single time they get a stop or a conversion on third and fourth down.
Yeah, it was at 93 coming into this game, so my math says that's $930 at this point donated. That's awesome. That's a great job by Jeff as Brown is getting looked at, the sophomore. Remember, we talk about this Georgia Tech team. It is Jeff Sims, true freshman. Jamar Gibbs, true freshman. The running back. Number 54, the right tackle, Jordan Williams, true freshman. And Amarian Brown, the sophomore. These are the linchpins for this offense as they're just getting out of that triple option mode. If the offensive linemen they'll now bring in they'll try and get bigger offensive linemen. They're usually smaller when you run the option. So building for the future.
Coming up tomorrow on Sunday NFL Countdown, Tom Brady and Randy Moss, one-time teammates in New England, go one-on-one in a sit-down conversation. Plus, before Tua makes his NFL debut, we're sitting down with some of the game's greatest left-handed quarterbacks. Kick off your Week 8 with Sunday NFL Countdown, 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPN.
Yeah, I tell you, it's holding his arm, looked like Brown had reached up for his shoulder. Talk about Moss and Brady when they were together in New England. A record-setting year for Moss. How about New England now sitting at 2-4, playing the Bills this week, sitting at 5-2. What a big game. Cam Newton not really been playing that great just yet. Certainly dealt with the COVID and has been struggling since then as well.
Stephon Gilmore out. There have been trade rumors surrounding him. First down and 5 for Georgia Tech at the 39-yard line, and they run it straight ahead for about 4 yards. That was Jordan Mason getting the carry. He missed 4 games earlier this year due to injury, but he's back in the lineup at almost 1,000 yards a year ago on the ground. Pass play for Sims here in trouble. Gets away from Heinisch. And Sims able to turn it upfield to get back to the line of scrimmage, but did not appear to reach the ball out and get the first down. It'll be 3rd and 1.
So Georgia Tech certainly wants to hang on to the ball here and get the first down on 3rd and short, because their defense has been huffing and puffing out on the field an awful lot with Notre Dame's offense. So keep the ball here. This is when, hey, I've been in there. You as a defender on the field out, you're out there drinking some Gatorade on the sideline going, come on, guys, get a yard. Get a yard. Give me another set of downs on the sideline here to rest up.
Mason is the back here on 3rd down and 1. Just 19 yards of total offense. They get about 4 there, enough to move the chains. That's big for Georgia Tech. You were talking about the youth for the Yellow Jackets, and you're going up against a veteran defense that gives up less than 10 points per game. Only Marshall is better in FBS defensively right now, statistically, than Notre Dame.
You know, I was comparing them to the Notre Dame defense of 2012, the title year. After 5 games, that defense gave up 39 points. This defense has only given up 49 points.
And only 1 touchdown outside the red zone all year. Sims dumps it off here and right in the face of Jordan Mason as Kyle Hamilton, outstanding sophomore from Atlanta, went to the Marist School, which is just 14 miles from Bobby Dodd Stadium.
Gang, this is a name you're going to hear an awful lot in college this year and next year, and then in the NFL. 6'4", 220-pound safety, fits the mold of that NFL safety. Such fluid hips, great knowledge of the game. Impressive player to watch.
Sims from the pocket on 2nd and 12. Had a receiver wide open, but overshot Dylan Leonard, the tight end. It'll be 3rd down and 12. Tough to beat a team like Notre Dame if you miss on those kind of opportunities.
That's exactly right, Dave. And these are the plays, again, as a true freshman, he's going to grow, he's going to learn, he's going to understand. I got him open, just put the ball there. You don't have to make him work for it. It's a learning process right now, but the serious upside here.
Sims, 2-time ACC Rookie of the Week. First time Georgia Tech has had a player win that award twice, since Calvin Johnson did it 4 times in 2004. On 3rd and long, Sims' pass is pulled in to Notre Dame territory by Jalen Camp. He landed on a defender, so he's only a couple of yards short of the line to gain here. 4th down. What do you do?
Oh, have to go for it. I don't think there is any doubt. I would be stunned. I think they'll be going for this. 27, Jordan Mason in the game. He is there. We saw him get the last first down on 3rd and 1. He's their downhill runner at 6'1", 218 pounds. So sure, it made it either a handoff to him or a play action to him and a quick pass.
And a timeout called here by Georgia Tech to talk it over on 4th down and 2. Trailing Notre Dame by 7 at the 4-minute mark of the first half. ESPN College Football on ABC, presented by PlayStation 5. As you look at the Georgia Tech campus where this game is being played, it was supposed to be played at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, home of the Falcons, but moved on campus. Big 4th down here for Georgia Tech. Gibbs is in the game now on 4th down and 2. Notre Dame 50% on 4th down defensively, but that's going up as Kyle Hamilton was in the backfield immediately and takes down Gibbs for a loss.
Well, we just talked about Kyle Hamilton and what he is able to do. Blitz coming off the top right here, just going to make the play. Nothing fancy in the backfield at all. Going up, Notbach goes underneath the block. As you see, Zach Quinney pulling out to try and hook him, but he was quick enough to get underneath the block. Quinney out too far and letting the defender come underneath before he could hook him to give him the edge. It's just smart play on Hamilton's part. Take advantage of your speed and quickness over an offensive lineman. No sense in taking him on. Just go underneath him.
Notre Dame going to run Chris Tyree here on 1st down. And he's down to the 43 for about 6. You know, going back to that 4th down play, you talked about the speed, Mike, and would you say this is a faster defense for Notre Dame we've seen, and you're trying to run that play to the perimeter against a guy like Hamilton out there?
This is one of the biggest differences I've seen in this Notre Dame defense over the years is speed. They've lacked that, would get burned on bigger plays or by faster teams, and they have the speed that can stay with teams now as well. I thought possibly it would be Gibbs out in the backfield. He catches the ball very well out of the backfield. Thought they were going to go down that road.
Big hole here on 2nd down for Tyree. Inside the 30-yard line for the true freshman. Over 100 yards against Florida State this year. In a win for Notre Dame, he averages over 6 yards a pop.
Talk about the tight ends again on the blocks. Watch them just staying on their men. 2 tight ends there. There's one Brock, right? Look at just staying on their guy. They do such a nice job. The linemen and the tight ends are leaning in. And Brock Wright is more of a blocking tight end. Just 2 catches on the year. Excellent job.
Pressure here from Georgia Tech off the edge. Book going for Tyree. And made the catch at the 22-yard line. It's amazing. You look at the stats. Georgia Tech has 25 yards. Notre Dame has 225. Yet it's only a 7-point game, and Georgia Tech just had the ball in Notre Dame territory before turning it over on downs.
And that's exactly the message Jeff Collins, I'm sure, is going to tell his players. You're 1 play away. Look at the 1 play we had that got us here. We're 1 play away. We're a good drive away. If they can keep them out of the end zone on this drive or hopefully without a field goal either. Remember, Georgia Tech has 2 wins. They were in the plus category in turnovers like they are right now.
So the last play was ruled incomplete. One official had it as a catch, but overturned incomplete. They go empty on 2nd down and 10. Book takes off inside the 20, and Book gets the first down close to the 15-yard line.
So again, this is where Book is so smart in seeing coverage. You'll see man coverage all down behind him. So when he sees that and the middle opens up, it's man free. It's only the safety that's free. And that's the first guy that gets to him because everybody else is in man coverage. They're locked in on their receiver. Ian Book knows that, sees that. He has all the space in the world, and he can be very dangerous with his legs like he was there.
From the Georgia Tech 14, nearing 2 minutes to go here till halftime. Book in trouble. Backs up after eluding pressure and throws it away. You know, one thing Book doesn't do usually, Mike, is make big mistakes. You look at the last 2 years, 41 touchdowns, only 7 interceptions. That was a little dangerous there with worlds colliding, but he somehow escaped and threw it away.
Right, he won't make the turnover mistake. We saw with the pass with Skoranek, the 6'3" receiver. He didn't give him a chance to jump for a ball. Let's talk about leaving plays on the field sometimes. Yeah, but he is not a turnover guy. Knows how to keep the ball in their possession.
But you do have to wonder if Trevor Lawrence is back. Can he make enough big plays in the game next week to knock off Clemson? As the play clock was at 1, Notre Dame had to use a timeout. That'll leave the Irish with 2.
Of the half, 30-second timeout.
Well, and that's what they'll need. You're right. Notre Dame isn't really a team that passes the ball an entire game. They mix it with the run. They'll pass to set up the run or vice versa. Today, they use the pass to set up the run. And that will be the question. Will Trevor Lawrence be back? Now, by the protocols that they're using in the ACC and with Clemson, it would seem, I believe, by next Friday, that would be the 10 days for Trevor Lawrence to be available to be back and playing again. And if all holds true and he has a negative test and he's available on Friday, I would imagine that he will be ready to go and be playing when they come into South Bend.
If he were in the Big Ten, he'd be out 3 weeks.
Yes,
right?
he would.
The 21-day rule. It's a minimum 10 days. So to your point, I got to imagine with the positive test Wednesday, he also has to be symptom-free for at least 24 hours before returning. So if he doesn't have any symptoms and he's good to go, you would think he'll be there in South Bend on Saturday.
From that point where he tested positive to next Friday, he has to be free of the symptoms, the cardiac tests as well, for him to be able to play.
2nd down and 10, play action. Book leaving the pocket again, overthrows the intended target. Tommy Tremble bringing up 3rd down and 10. What could be a huge opportunity for Georgia Tech here defensively to stay within striking distance.
Now he does get rushed out of the pocket a little bit, but he is rolling right as a right-handed quarterback, and he's got a wide open receiver. Again, that's one I know when he looks at it, when he and Tommy Reese, your coordinator, looking at it saying, I've got to make that play. I've got to be able to drop that one in there and get what would have been an easy touchdown.
There's 6 of 7 on 3rd down today, but this is 3rd and 10 for Book. As Book throws it up for grabs, incomplete, going for Mayer. And good coverage that time by Caleb Oliver. It's 4th down, and Georgia Tech is off the field. Here comes the field goal unit for Notre Dame.
Nice job by Georgia Tech. That's a good matchup, too. Caleb Oliver is 6'4", and Mayer is 6'5", so that's a nice, as far as a jump ball matchup. That's sitting pretty for Georgia Tech, having a big man on a big man there, and the pass too high anyway.
Jonathan Dorr has missed twice this year. It's a 32-yard attempt, though. Try to extend the lead here. Georgia Tech does have 2 timeouts remaining. And the field goal is perfect. Notre Dame 17, Georgia Tech 7. This season, for every field goal, an extra point made by participating universities. Allstate will make a contribution to the university's General Scholarship Fund. Thank you, Allstate. Dave Pasch here in the home office with the doorbell ringing. The trick-or-treaters here in Arizona. Mike with now 1 bag of candy. There were 2 at the beginning of the game in Bristol. Marty Smith checking in from the field in Atlanta.
Are wipeouts in the shade at this point?
Guys, Notre Dame offensive coordinator Tom.
Just wait till the end of the first half.
No champion ever had an inconsistent quarterback. Oh, my mic's not working apparently.
You're good now, Marty. We got
You're
you now,
good.
pal.
Go ahead, Marty.
Okay, apparently my mic is working, America. Let's try this again. Notre Dame offensive coordinator Tommy Rees told us yesterday that Ian Book has to be more consistent. No championship team ever has a truly inconsistent quarterback, but then he did pause and say, but all Ian Book does is find ways to win, and that's what he's going to continue to do.
Excellent coverage here by Notre Dame. Dante Smith didn't get much on the return. 1:44 now to work with for Georgia Tech.
But, you know, what's happening with some of those throws, and he's right, and Brian Kelly said the same thing. This guy does find a way, Ian Book, to make plays. But as Brian Kelly said, performance over outcome. Performance, drop that ball into Tremble, get that touchdown. Performance, let Skoranek have a chance, your 6'3" receiver, at a jump ball. You know, do those in the game where you're not playing the #1 team in the country, so you can do it when you are playing the #1 team in the country. Consistent with the outcome and the performance.
Georgia Tech going to keep it on the ground here with Gibbs, and they get a big play. Clock will stop to reset the chains. 2 timeouts left for Georgia Tech. That's just the 17th play that the Yellow Jackets have run today. Half of them have gone for 0 or negative yardage. Here's Sims rolling out. Going to keep it. And gets maybe 2 or 3 yards. 120 and counting here for Tech.
He is, every time he has the ball, he breaks out of that pocket. He is a big play away from making something happen with his legs or his arms.
True freshman from Jacksonville, Florida. Sims to throw. Has a completion. Short of the line to gain. Going to bring up 3rd down here inside a minute to go, and Georgia Tech not calling a timeout. The catch made by Nate McCollum. Boy, taking a lot of time off the clock here. Pressure off the edge on 3rd down as they run it, and Gibbs does have a 1st down. The clock will stop, reset the chains. Georgia Tech may want to think about a timeout as well here.
Yeah. I think for the sake of your young quarterback, but they're not going to. Clock running, 30 seconds.
Cost him about 5 seconds before the snap. Sims with a long throw. The catch is made by Leonard, but they don't get much. So they use a timeout there. 22 seconds left. You got to figure they need 20 or 25 yards to get within field goal range. But keep in mind their field goal kickers are combined 1 for 5 with 4 blocks.
Yeah, you're waiting for the shot downfield a little bit. Notre Dame does a good job of really not giving you that. They'll play off a bit. Play action not really a concern right now. You're not going to bring any defenders up. So Notre Dame will play back and say, we're going to give you everything you want underneath and we'll just break on it. Now what Sims can do is he can give you more time. He can break out of that pocket, and then it turns into a little bit of a schoolyard play where they can hit a big play instead of just your basic pocket pass with a receiver streaking downfield. Notre Dame, I mean, it would be stunning, but we've seen it before with teams where you know a team wants to go deep and you still let them get behind you.
Capital One halftime report. Kevin Agandi, Booger McFarland, Mark Sanchez coming up in about 22 seconds. Here is 2nd down and 6 for the true freshman. Sims dumps it off, but it's incomplete. Ezzard couldn't hang on. 19 seconds to go in the half. 3rd down.
In all honesty, it's better that he dropped that ball. They would have had to use their last timeout. So now the clock stops. You still have the entire field open. 1st down will stop the clock. You can get a kill play if you want, or you can use your timeout. They have to try. You have to take a shot and take it downfield. I'm not saying a long pass, a deep pass, but you have to get to that mid-level a little bit here if you're going to try and give yourself any kind of a chance.
Need to get to the 45 for the 1st down. And 1 timeout left. Here's Gibbs carrying it and doesn't get the 1st down. So now you let the half just end. It's 4th down. Do you call a timeout here if you're Notre Dame to force a decision by Georgia Tech? Georgia Tech calls a timeout. Are they going to go for it?
Let's also remember they get the ball to start the second half. I'm sure while Jeff wants to give something a shot here, doesn't want anything crazy to happen because they do have the ball in the second half. But
we got a little confusion on the down here.
Yeah.
It doesn't help that neither you nor I are at the stadium, but it did say 3rd down and 6. And it didn't look like he had the first down, so the 3rd and 6 must have been incorrect because now we're being told that it is a first down. So 1st and 10 at the 39-yard line of Georgia Tech.
So you still have the chance to use the entire field, though you need to get the first down, or if it's before that, you need to get out of bounds. If you get the first down, you're able to stop the clock and get a kill before one more play.
And again, 1 for 5 combined for the field goal kickers for Georgia Tech. Both true freshmen, but blocks have been the issue. Got to get something to the perimeter here. 3-man rush for Notre Dame. Sims steps up and takes off. Got to get out of bounds. He doesn't. And there's no way they'll be able to get up there and spike it in time. That's going to end the first half. So poorly executed by Georgia Tech. Ian Book very sharp for Notre Dame. 17-7 Irish at halftime. The only score for Georgia Tech came on a school record 93-yard fumble recovery for a touchdown by Zamari Walden. Otherwise, it might be a runaway for Notre Dame. As it is, Tech within striking distance with 1 half to go in Atlanta. As we send you to Kevin Agandi, the Capital One halftime report, right after these messages and a word from our ABC stations. Welcome back to ESPN College Football on ABC, presented by PlayStation 5. Atlanta, Georgia, the Georgia Tech campus, where number 4 Notre Dame, which plays and hosts Clemson, who will be without Trevor Lawrence, we were just told, from Dabo Swinney, next Saturday in South Bend, leading Georgia Tech by 10. Time now for our Pacific Life game summary.
Well, this has been all Notre Dame except for one play, which we'll get to for Georgia Tech. But for Notre Dame, Ian Book having himself a game, 12 of 19, 99 yards. This touchdown pass to Joe Wilkins, not a ton of yards, but very effective. The defense doing what they've done all year. Georgia Tech just 66 total yards. But here's the one play. The strip, the fumble, and the Zamari Walden new Georgia Tech fumble return for a touchdown record to keep Georgia Tech within shouting distance. They get the ball first in the second half. Very important drive.
Georgia Tech, last win over an AP top 5 team, was back against Virginia Tech in 2009. Got a touchback here. It'll come out to the 25. Here's Marty Smith moments ago with Brian Kelly.
Coach, what did you see that you liked and what didn't you like so much?
Well, obviously we controlled the football. You know, we stopped ourselves offensively, right? With the turnover, couple of mistakes. Defensively, they haven't been able to move the football, so we played well defensively. You know, I just think there's another level we have to play at. You know, it's 17-7 at the half. This will be a big series here. We got to stop them on this first series, get the football and score, and take control of the football game.
How close do you believe you guys are to that next level you need to reach?
Well, we'll see here in the second half. I don't think we played our best football, but yet, you know, we really dominated the football game other than the turnover, which, you know, you got to take care of the football down there or it's a different football game.
Appreciate your time, Coach. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So penalty on Notre Dame. Did not hear what the penalty was. Dave Pash in Phoenix, Mike Golick in Bristol. Personal foul on Drew White, the middle linebacker.
Foul, so he's 15 yards from the end of the run.
This is just not smart. End of the play. They have him down. They're blowing the whistle, and Drew White just throws him down. There's no need. You made the play. And, you know, these are the little mistakes, the things that Brian Kelly is talking about. They're dominating this game, but these couple of mistakes, a few on offense, defensively, we really haven't seen any until that big mental mistake right there. You have a young offense. You see it pointing ahead. That's mental. It's exactly what it was. You had a young team with a 2nd and long, and now they have a 1st and 10, 15 yards up.
True freshman quarterback Jeff Sims, who certainly is capable, very electric, has made some big plays this year. Play action here for Sims, and the pass is incomplete, trying to hit Malachi Carter across the middle.
Tariq Bracy on the coverage there for Notre Dame. As I said earlier, they'll give them the swing passes, they'll give them the quick slants, and they'll just break on them. Excellent break, excellent timing by Bracey right there. 2nd and 10. Not great manageable situations for Georgia Tech the entire game.
Sims to the air again here. And taking a shot down the middle of the field. It's caught. Jalen Camp pulls it in. We talked about the fact that Sims is certainly capable, and they get a huge play here out of the young quarterback.
That's their first shot down the field. Nick McLeod on the coverage. And this is one of the things we talked about with Sims. You know, inconsistent because he's so young, but boy, you get a glimpse of that arm right there. And now
30.
you make a big play.
Number 70, offense, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
And then your right guard, Ryan Johnson, who, as the coaches have said, is the smartest guy up front, but you know, everybody's prone to mental errors, and that was one. So after a big play by Sims, you get a look at that arm. Again, really their first shot down the field. Now it's 1st and 15.
Right, 39 yards on the pass play. They had 66 yards of total offense prior to that play. But 1st and 15 after the penalty. Sims in trouble, fumbles the ball as he's sacked. It's recovered by Notre Dame. Tagovailoa Amosa with the fumble recovery. Dalen Hayes chopped it out of the hands of Jeff Sims.
Again, this is on the true freshman right tackle, Jordan Williams, that we have talked about. He's just going to beat him on a flat outside rush and just get the hit. Excellent job on the inside. Umosu, he sees the ball. Look at him spin out. He saw the ball on the ground. Watch the hit. Watch 95. He sees the ball on the ground. Look at him spin out. That was his way to get out, to get on the ball. Excellent awareness by him after a great rush by Dalen Hayes. Just another player on defense who you'll see playing on Sundays next year. Running right around the big 6'6", 330-pound true freshman right tackle.
A huge play by the Notre Dame defense with Georgia Tech threatening. Down just 10 points early in the 3rd quarter. Notre Dame will run it on 1st down. Kyron Williams wrapped up by Trey Swilling after a short game. In case you're just tuning in and haven't been paying attention to Twitter, according to multiple reports, Dabo Swinney has said that Trevor Lawrence is out for next week's game at Notre Dame. We knew it was going to be a big game anyway, but with the way Boston College hung in there against Clemson today with DJ Uiagalelei at quarterback, even though he threw the ball for almost 350 yards, it certainly makes next Saturday even more intriguing, especially if Notre Dame can hang on here. Big hit delivered by the running back, Kyron Williams, on the perimeter after a gain of close to 8.
And I still think even with Trevor out next week, Dave, the way it's going to go is after the game next week, you'll have a winner, you'll have a loser. If both teams go on to win the rest of their games, they would most likely meet in the ACC championship game, and then the winner there is probably going to be in great position, certainly to be in the playoffs, maybe both, depending on how the games go. We'll see.
Notre Dame dropped the spot in the polls, flipping with Ohio State, which plays Penn State tonight on ABC. Here's 3rd and 3 for Book. Finds a running lane and picks up the 1st down and more into Georgia Tech territory. Scoots out of play at the 45.
So here it is again. This is what Andrew Thacker likes to do. Man coverage. He said, we're gonna get man on these guys. We don't want to give them any space. Book sees that, has a place to escape up the middle, knows everybody has their eye on their receivers. Then the receivers turn into blockers. Ian Book has done that as he rises up the charts in Notre Dame history. For many of his quarterback numbers, his legs have been really impressive the way he prolongs plays.
Here's a deep ball that's caught at the 20-yard line by McKinley. Inside the 15, Javon McKinley was targeted often in the 1st quarter by Ian Book on short passes. Here Book goes deep to the 6'2 grad from Corona, California, gain of 31.
And again, you see this back shoulder throw all the time. That's what it was. Back shoulder, even a little behind, but it's supposed to be more to the back shoulder. But because the receiver is going to see the ball first, they make the break back for the ball, get the easy completion. Again, you get the 6'2", 215-pounder of the ball. He can make something happen with it.
Now leading the team in catches with 13 on the season. Kyron Williams turns it upfield inside the 10, drags defenders inside the 5. Excellent run by Kyron Williams. Second and short here for Notre Dame.
You know, and that's what Ian Book, going back to the passing game, Dave, has had to do. Get used to new receivers. Last year, Chase Claypool, Cole Kmet, Chris Fink were all the top 3 leading receivers, all gone. 2 of them in the NFL, 2 of 44 players Notre Dame has in the NFL. So it's all basically a new receiving group and always a tight end group as well.
Get 3 tight ends then as they run the ball straight ahead to Kyron Williams for the touchdown. It started with the takeaway on defense with Georgia Tech in position to get points, and the Irish march right down the field, and they score with Williams getting his 6th touchdown in the season on the ground.
Nothing fancy at all. Nice job by Jared Patterson, the center, sustaining a block. But listen, go back to what Marty told Brian Kelly. Let's see what we do coming out this half. We need a stop on defense. Check. They got a turnover and got the ball. How does the offense do? Drive right down the field and score. Just the start they wanted.
Dorr puts it through, and Notre Dame leads by 17 in full command now of this ball game early in the 3rd.
QLED 4K Game of the Week. Mississippi State and Alabama tonight at 7 on ESPN. Available in 4K.
All the top 5 teams in action today. Clemson escaped, playing without Trevor Lawrence today, beating Boston College. It'll be DJ Uiagalelei again at quarterback next week against these Fighting Irish. 4th-ranked Notre Dame looking to go to 6-0. Touchback here. Georgia Tech will start on its 25-yard line. Saturday Night Football presented by Capital One. Number 3 Ohio State in action against Penn State. ABC, ESPN app. Taking a look at the PlayStation 5 college football rankings. We mentioned that we got all the top 5 teams in action across the ESPN networks today. See how Georgia Tech responds, now down 17. Good pass by Sims to Sanders. Forward progress stopped after a pickup of close to 9.
So this is what Jeff Collins will see, and I'm sure he told his club at halftime and wants to see now. And he thought that the culture of the team was starting to take shape to what he wanted when he saw them come back a bit against Boston College. Now, it fell short, but they came back, and he loved their attitude in coming back. So same test here against one of the top teams in the country. How do you respond to in a game that's getting away from you?
Against one of the best defenses in the country, maybe the best defense. Sims keeping it here. Sweet move to shake Sean Crawford and pick up the first down for Georgia Tech.
Yeah, this isn't going to be a rest of the game where they just start throwing and throwing. They're going to try and run the regular offense and get this true freshman Jeff Sims a lot more snaps at just running a normal offense.
Back to throw here. Sims looking deep. Had a man and overshot Malachi Carter. I don't know if Carter stopped his route or what, but both the quarterback and the receiver didn't look pleased with the other.
We'll see if he stopped. Just got hung up a little bit. With Owusu Kamara.
So just 13 pass attempts for Sims in the game. True freshman who's a business administration major, says he wants to play in the NFL for a long time and then open up his own business when his playing days are over. He is incredibly talented, going to be fun to watch over the next few years. No shot here, though, to get away from Isaiah Foskey, who now has 3.5 sacks on the year. He is freakish talent at that defensive end position for Notre Dame.
So he's reading Foskey is what he's doing. And Foskey comes down 7. You'll see him right at the mesh point. Freeze it right here. At the mesh point, he sees him zeroing in on the back, so that's why he's going to pull it. But Foskey does a great job coming off and still making the play. That's a great athletic play by Foskey. He's reading Foskey the whole way, saying he thought he was going to crash more on the running back.
And just going to hand off here, and a great play to get off the block by Gundeji to make the tackle. It'll be 4th down. Again, this Notre Dame defense has given up just 56 points all season long. Georgia Tech right around 100 yards of total offense on the day.
Well, see, again, this is where you're seeing athletic ability and team speed. Really, the level has really been upped over the last couple of years.
Got a whistle, stoppage of play, a flag before the snap on the punt.
Prior to the snap, false start, number 4, kicking team, 5-yard penalty, still 4th down.
You know,
growing pains for Jeff Collins trying to get this program headed back in a positive direction. They did have some success under Paul Johnson, went to an Orange Bowl. Second year for Collins, 3 wins a year ago, 2 wins already this year.
And by the way, you just had a good look at the punter again. He's 6 foot 255. He's going to punt on Sundays. He hasn't had a banner day today, but he can boom the ball.
Fair catch made by Salerno near the 38-yard line midway through the 3rd quarter with Notre Dame up 17 on Georgia Tech. Survived today at home against Boston College with backup quarterback, the very talented DJ Uiagalelei. Travis Etienne, doesn't hurt to have him. Georgia knocked off Kentucky in a good game, 14-3 in Lexington. Later tonight on ESPN, number 2 will play. Alabama taking on Mississippi State. Got off to a great start, but no wins since week 1. And then Ohio State, Penn State, terrific rivalry game on ABC following us. Brian Kelly's team dropped from 3 to 4 this past week with Ohio State moving up. Notre Dame will play Clemson, obviously, next Saturday night with no Trevor Lawrence because of COVID-19 protocols. Will not be able to play next week. Ian Book to the air here on 1st down as a completion to Skoranek for 9 yards. Terrific numbers for Uiagalelei in his debut.
I'm just so impressed you have the pronunciation down so well. But again, this kid is almost 6'5", about 250 pounds. Threw the ball well today. To the right, he threw it better than to the left. Had the tough exchange with Etienne down by the goal line. Boston College got a 97-yard fumble return for a touchdown. But all in all, a nice game for the true freshman. A lot will be on his shoulders next week.
Book in trouble, and down he goes. First guy back there was Caleb Oliver for Georgia Tech.
Notre Dame giving up a couple of sacks today. Again, all the movement starting left. So he's untouched, so that one's on the quarterback. He's got to see that. Either make a miss, get rid of the ball, but Oliver was on him pretty quickly. So at times, sometimes you just say, you know what, you got to eat it, fight for another play. 3rd and 8.
See if Georgia Tech comes after Book here. They do. Book gets rid of it, and it's incomplete. Trying to hit Davis. He might have been short of the line to gain anyway, as Wesley Walker was in coverage. 4th down.
Yeah, even if you caught that, they weren't going to make it. That was good defense for Georgia Tech. Good win for that Georgia Tech defense, something they needed. Put their offense back out on the field.
Ezzard is deep here for Georgia Tech. Don't know how many more possessions that Georgia Tech is going to get, but you'd have to think on this one coming up, got to get points, get within 2 scores going into the 4th quarter. This hits Ezzard. He's able to cover it up, though. Well, Georgia Tech wearing the throwback jerseys today to honor the Black Watch defense from the 1980s, which honored the Scottish military of the 1700s. Pat Swilling, college football Hall of Famer, was a part of that defense. Ted Roof was also on that defense. I know you spoke with Bill Curry, who was the head coach for Georgia Tech during that time this week, Mike.
There's Trey Swilling. Yes, I'm going to give you that story. Of course, Bill Curry has a story.
And I'm not sure what happened there because, again, I'm watching it off a TV monitor at home, but it looked like there was a pass to Sanders. Our cameras got fooled there. 2nd down.
So I'll start
6-yard pass play.
I'll start the story, and we'll obviously stop it in plays. Starts with Don Lindsay, who was the defensive coordinator at the time.
Gibbs able to get the first down and out of bounds near the 40. Go ahead, Mike.
So Don Lindsay was the defensive coordinator, Bill Curry the head coach, and Don had said, I want to get a name for some of the players on the defense. It's not all of them, but some of the players. And they didn't have a name, and Bill Curry's better half, his wife Carolyn, always liked to take Bill overseas to learn things in the offseason. And one of the trips they took was to Scotland as a 1st and 10 play here for Sims.
Sims has a wide open man, Jalen Camp, into Notre Dame territory. Tech has something going on this drive.
Nice drive so far here by Georgia Tech. So Bill and his wife Carolyn are at the Edinburgh Castle in Scotland, and they're walking up to the front, and Bill sees this huge guys in kilts, huge calves that look like, or calves that look like thighs, and these big daggers, knives. And he said, who are these guys? And he was told they're the Black Watchmen. And Bill, as we see another completion, Bill called Don Lindsay at that point, and he said, I got the name. This is what we're calling those guys on defense in the famed Black Watch defense. Ted Roof was the first one. He brought in Pat Swilling, and then the players who were in the Black Watch, they had to vote in the other players. As they review this play, they said there was never more than 7
The previous play is under further review for potential targeting.
All right, we'll get the review on that. We'll check it out.
This is a penalty on Notre Dame. It would be an ejection and a 15-yard penalty. Got a timeout, 5:12 to go in the third. Georgia Tech starting to move the football, really for the first time today. It's a 15-yard penalty against Notre Dame, so Georgia Tech with its best field position of the day at the 25 of Notre Dame. Sims throwing it to the end zone, incomplete. He was going for Leonard. Nick McLeod with excellent coverage.
So here's the penalty, and it was targeting. He comes in there. You got to use your shoulder. Got to keep your head out of that play. He had time to do that. Look where he's coming in. He catches him with his helmet into the helmet of the runner. That was the call. He'll miss the first half of next week's game against Clemson. He plays a position, the buck position, where basically 3 players have been playing that position by committee.
Gibbs in trouble in the backfield, able to make a defender miss, and then look at him run over Kyle Hamilton. Close to a first down. That was an outstanding run, maybe the best of the day for freshman Jahmyr Gibbs.
So, you know, we see glimpses, and we saw just a little move there, east and west, to give himself that hole to go north and south. Glimpses of these freshmen help as we get a Dalen Hayes, another sack fumble.
But recovered by an offensive lineman for Georgia Tech.
Dalen Hayes this time coming from the other side off of Zach Quinney, number 73, coming on the outside up top. Quinney gets his hands around the head and tries to push him down to the ground. Dalen Hayes keeps his balance, gets his second sack fumble, forced fumble of the game.
Well, that was an important recovery, though, by Quinney to keep hopes alive of at least getting something. You got to get points on this drive. You've gotten this far into Notre Dame territory. It's the first time they've been in the red zone today. 2nd and 16. Now, keep in mind their field goal kickers, though, 1 of 5, 4 blocks. Here's Sims keeping it. And down he goes after a short gain. So it's going to be 3rd down and 14 here for the Yellow Jackets.
Again, 3rd and manageable. That's a phrase we have not been able to say about this offense an awful lot. Nice play there. Pulled the ball, held it in patience long enough to make the defender commit to get a decent gain. But when you're backed up that much, it gets very, very difficult.
Just look at Jeff Collins, the intensity. He never stops, bouncing up and down. Guy's got incredible amount of energy on that sideline for Georgia Tech. Sims rolling out here on 3rd and 14 and taken down in the backfield by Sean Crawford. Not sure what was going on there with the play design, but it's another negative play, and now a long field goal try.
Well, Jordan Mason's right there to make the play, number 27, and Crawford just a nice shuffle move around him to make the play. Very, very difficult.
Didn't make the play. Dalen Hayes would have.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, this defense is just playing so well. They're playing in Georgia Tech's backfield pretty much the entire day.
So Jude Kelly, only one made field goal for Georgia Tech, and it was a 32-yarder.
Oh.
This from 44 yards, and it's not close. Wow, 1 of 6 combined on field goal attempts for Georgia Tech, a pair of true freshman kickers.
Taco Bell's Nachos Party Pack. Delicious nachos topped with all your favorites. Only Taco Bell.
So, Dave, I think, Jeff Collins, the message, as he said, because he has so many young players, not to scream and yell, but to really be constructive criticism. He doesn't want to lose these guys. He doesn't want them thinking, if I make a mistake, am I going to get pulled or not? So there's a lot of coaching going on with a young crew here. Not only physically mistakes being made, but mentally as well when games get away.
A run, Kyron Williams on first down, and he's going to lose a couple, brought down by David Curry. Let's bring in Marty Smith.
Guys, we can tell that Notre Dame is superior athletically and their size and all of that. And in speaking with Coach Collins about the culture he's building at Georgia Tech, he understands that. He has so much energy, as you guys were alluding to a moment ago, and he told us this was interesting. They're scared to death around this country of what we will be. We're not there yet, but it's coming. He's confident, boys.
Yeah, when you hear that as Kyron Williams gets the carry for a couple yards, bringing up third down and long, at some point you have to have some evidence to back that up, and as you look at his track record, he does.
Yes.
Right? I mean, his record as a coordinator is there to at least get the players to believe it.
As my son would say, he has the receipts. He is trying to talk like the kids. He has the receipts out there, and I can't emphasize this enough. This was a triple option team 2 years ago. The makeup is completely different of what he's going for, so it is going to take some time.
Book on third down and 8. Flushed out of the pocket. Launches it complete for a first down to Javon McKinley, who's tearing up this Georgia Tech defense today. McKinley takes it into Yellow Jacket territory as they convert on third and long.
There has been great consistency in the passing game. We've seen Book do this and take off, but he sees Curry's right there, so he just buys time by shuffling. All his receivers know it. Break off their routes. Watch McKinley's doing an out route, but sees his man scrambling, knows he can't go outside anymore, so breaks back to the inside to give him an open look.
34-yard pass play. Book in trouble here, sensing the pressure coming from Curry, and he completes it. Just watching that compared to what we saw from Jeff Sims, that's an experience thing, right? You sense the pressure,
yes.
You just move enough to keep the play alive.
You buy time to keep the play alive. Absolutely right. Again, he can run to do some things, rather stay behind the line of scrimmage and throw it to his playmakers. Knows when it's man coverage, he'll have more room to run. But Sims is going to get there from Georgia Tech. I really think the upside is so high for some of those guys on that offensive side of the ball. He's got some defenders, some DN, 6'6", 6'4", 300-pounders. Those are the guys, true freshmen. Those are the kind of guys he wants to start bringing in.
On 2nd and 6, he'll dump it off here to Williams. First down the sideline, inside the 15, finally planted at the 13-yard line by Anthony Shoel.
The big man, Robert Hainsey, 27 starts. What a great job keeping his feet. Big 290-pounder, not one block, but 2 blocks downfield to help free up his man as we head to the fourth quarter. Notre Dame up 24-7 over Georgia Tech.
Well, Brady is back on Monday Night Football. Tom Brady and the Buccaneers take on the Giants. 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on ESPN, ESPN Deportes, and the ESPN app. Our coverage starts with Monday Night Countdown at 6. The Buccaneers, the highest scoring team in the NFL. The Giants have just 1 win. Notre Dame on the doorstep again, leading Georgia Tech 24-7. The Irish 5-0, ranked 4th. They play Clemson next Saturday night. Trevor Lawrence will not play, though, for Clemson. Here's Sebo Flemister running right on first down. Got maybe 2 yards there for the Irish.
Yeah, it's going to make it very interesting next week. That's, the freshman quarterback at Clemson getting that game today against Boston College, in a game that was a lot closer than people thought. I'm sure Dabo is very happy, at least if he's going to play next week, got the experience today and got a lot of snaps under his belt before having to go to South Bend and play.
DJ Uyunglele, the quarterback for Clemson. Flemister again, dropped inside the 10 by Quez Jackson. You know, we talked a lot, Mike, about Ian Book and the record. Going to go to 26-3 as a starting quarterback, two-time captain. Statistically, among the all-time greats at Notre Dame at quarterback, but winning big games. And it's not just on him, but obviously everybody's going to look at him when it comes to trying to win a big game.
That's exactly right. You're going to look at the quarterback in those big games to come up with that big play. And that's the next step, because that's where Notre Dame has struggled at times against the better teams, getting that play.
Flemister dragging defenders, will have a first down. First down and goal from the 4-yard line.
But it really is amazing where he is. I mean, it's the first time since Jimmy Clausen, they had a quarterback with this many starts coming for a third season to play. And he says some of the fun part, he doesn't get caught up in all the records, that he's where he's moving up the charts, where Brady Quinn is atop most of the charts for most of them. But he is enjoying passing his offensive coordinator, Tommy Rees. In more than a few of them over the last couple of weeks, he's passed Tommy Rees in some of the statistics, and he's always sure to let Tommy know that. They have a great relationship.
They're about the same age. Rees is only Rees is only 6 years older than Book. First and goal. Flemister again, and he's into the end zone for the touchdown. A homecoming for Sebo Flemister, a one-time Georgia Tech commit from Williamson, Georgia. 3 yards out.
Nothing fancy in this game when they get by the goal line. Big bodies, pushing defenders around, leaning on them. Scores have been very, very easy right up the middle. So what Brian Kelly was looking for out of this team in the second half, he's getting, without question. They're upping their performance.
Hey, maybe this is a reason why Brian Kelly can say, you know what, we are going to look ahead, because he feels comfortable in the professionalism, so to speak, of his players and how they handle their business, which they have certainly done here today, leading by 24. In college football on ABC, presented by PlayStation 5, Notre Dame leads Georgia Tech 31-7. The defense has surrendered 0 points, the only score for Georgia Tech, on a 93-yard fumble return for a touchdown by Walton. Dante Smith is deep. And the fair catch made. Come out to the 25. Let's take a look at today's Crunch Time, brought to you by Cheez-It.
Oh, love me some Cheez-Its. Okay, sorry. Listen, this defense holding Georgia Tech right now to 141 total yards. They have 4 sacks. Coming into this game, Georgia Tech was allowing 1.67 sacks per game. That was tops in the ACC. Notre Dame has 4 sacks today. So they are continuing to dominate like they have all year long.
First down and 10 on the 25, and Sims to the air off play action. Has a completion out near the 40-yard line to Ezzard. Speaking of food, Mike, you started this day with 2 buckets of candy. Where are we now? Where are we in the count?
We have 3/4 of 1 bucket left.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm a little wound up now, Dave, okay? I'm a little wound up.
Sims to throw again. Takes off instead. Crosses the 40-yard line. Lost the ball.
They got it back.
It was Malachi Carter hopping on the loose ball.
Again, that's in a game that is getting away from them. Still, as I've talked about, Jeff Collins watching the players and seeing how they respond both offensively and defensively. See, it's a lot out of Sims. His knee was down. I don't think that would have been considered a fumble had Notre Dame got it.
Pressure off the edge. Sims steps up, throws a deep ball, and overshoots. Carter incomplete. All right, so we were talking about all the candy that Mike has already consumed.
Yep.
Marty, Mike, and I were asked our top 4. I'll let you go here, Mike. But first of all, number 2 for me was not Cracker Jack. It was caramel corn. Cracker Jack and caramel corn are different.
Can I just say my list is awesome, and what are you guys doing? Twizzlers? Nerds, Marty? Nerds and sweet tarts? Those are the things that I like them, but they're not the go-to. Those are the things that are left over in the bowl after you've picked through the Twix and the Kit Kats and the Hershey bars. Holy smokes, Marty. I got to have a word with you.
Here's Sims on 3rd down and 6. And it's incomplete through the hands of Sanders.
Marty, explain yourselves.
First of all, nerds have staying power, okay? You're not taking 2 bites of the Twix and it's over. But to be quite frank, this is completely overthought. The list, it begins and ends with the Reese Cup. The Reese Cup is like the Notre Dame of candy. All it does is win and win and win, right? It's just, the Reese Cup Blizzard from Dairy Queen, just for the record, is the greatest dessert, but that's a whole other debate.
Well, then, Dave, I don't understand what Marty's doing. He said the Reese Cup, he had it 4th.
I know.
I don't understand.
The big sell, but he had it at the bottom of his list.
He did.
And it will be a touchback. I prefer just a glass of red usually on Halloween night as opposed to the candy. So, I was just trying off the top of my head that the first thing that came to mind was Twizzlers.
Yeah. You enjoy the red. I'll enjoy the candy. We'll be back.
On ABC is presented by PlayStation 5. Play has no limits. And in part by Pacific Life, more than 150 years strong. Trust in your tomorrow.
The children and pets of our crew. How about Chris Matthews' daughter, Audrey, there, top right, with her dog. Audrey has been on many of our Zoom calls. Absolutely adorable.
That is so cute.
Notre Dame with a 1st and 10, leading 31-7, and Book looking to take a shot, but everybody covered. Now Book unloads deep through the hands of the intended receiver. Joe Wilkins incomplete. So, Mike, I don't know if you saw this on Twitter. I tweeted out yesterday a sign, and you can get up close and see it. Basically just says, there you go. This is not a trick. I'm on television right now. Please don't ring the doorbell. My office is literally right next to the front door.
So if they rang the doorbell, we would hear it on air.
You would, yes.
Well, did you leave out a bowl of candy for everybody?
There's like 10 out there, and they're all gone.
10 pieces of candy?
It's 3:15 out here.
I have 362 pieces of candy on my front porch right now for kids.
Tyree trying to get outside, can't, maybe a yard. Brought down by Quez Jackson.
So I do think that this is going to be that conversation with Brian Kelly, as Marty talked about in the beginning of the telecast, about performance over outcome and getting the performance that raises the level. He wanted the level raised. I still don't think it's where he wants it to be. You see a mistake here or there, but obviously it's not going to be a perfect game. But I do think it's going for starting from Pittsburgh last week, what they did, to here. It is definitely going the direction Brian wants.
3rd and 9 here for Book from the 21. Book completes it to Mayer. He will not get the first down. Notre Dame will have to punt. Guys, don't you think that Brian Kelly trusts the leadership of his team, that he can talk about looking big picture?
Without a doubt. He has leaders all over this team, and those guys are controlling the locker room and the field. And here's a guy, quite honestly, Michael Mayer, the true freshman tight end. They said this kid is like a 10-year vet. They said he fits right in with the upperclassmen on the team. He came into this game as a leading receiver at tight end U. This guy is going to just have a fantastic career and will be the next level as well at some point. So yes, they have great leadership, Dave.
You're going to have to call the play here, Mike, because I completely lost everything here. So, I guess we're going to break.
I got you.
We'll have a chance maybe to get it fixed here.
Plug it back in,
I see
Dave.
a blank screen.
Oh, there's Jeff Collins again. He's going to be volunteering at a polling station. We're back in Atlanta. Georgia Tech has the ball, trailing 31-7 to Notre Dame, working on some issues with Dave to get him back on the air.
You know, Mike, we're back, but I wanted to let you call that play. But we are back. I have the monitor working now, so we're good.
I think people might have thought me being a Notre Dame person that I may have kicked your plug out or something somehow, some way, so I could just take over the game. But that's great by Jeff Collins again, volunteering at polling stations. We're seeing a lot of schools and giving the student athletes a day off next Tuesday to vote.
Here's Gibbs. Gets about 5 on second down and 10.
So again, third down here for Georgia Tech, 3rd and 5. And right now, Jeff Collins will be looking at little victories. 3rd and 5, let's try and move the chains. Let's try and get some kind of drive going. As we've been reiterating throughout, this is a true freshman quarterback, a true freshman running back, a true freshman right tackle.
Sims, wide open, out of the backfield is Gibbs. Inside the 35 of Notre Dame. Again, the Irish has not allowed a point off from the Georgia Tech offense today and wants to keep that going here.
Gibbs now 19 receptions on the year. That's the running back of today. A guy that can run the ball and be a threat out of the backfield as well. And that's exactly what this freshman is.
From Dalton, Georgia, 19th catch. Averages over 60 rushing yards per game. No fresh set of downs and a design run here for Jeff Sims. Nice move by Sims to get the first down, and then wisely dives as we go to Kevin Nagandi in the studio. Here it's 31-7, and a jump ball pass into the end zone is broken up by Hamilton, intended for McCollum.
Yeah, that's a safety who is 6'4", so he actually had the advantage there in the jump ball, along with great coverage. Hamilton, again, a true sophomore, has been nicked up a little bit. Says, you know, he still has some ankle issues every now and then, but really, really savvy in that defensive backfield.
Jordan Mason gets the carry here. Stiff arming his way inside the 10, inside the 5. First and goal for Georgia Tech. Yellow Jackets may not win this game, but at least maybe get some confidence offensively going into next week.
Again, there's your, as they have said, Georgia Tech, your downhill runner, gets a nice stiff arm. A nice drive for Georgia Tech.
Mason plows forward, comes up just short of the end zone. 2nd and goal.
Jeff is going to like the attitude right now that he's seeing out of his players.
Mason gets it again. And pushed into the end zone for the touchdown.
It's a nice push up front. You'll see him go, and then you see a lineman just start push right behind him, which is legal. You can't do that. Bill, as a former defensive player, not ecstatic that you could do that, but take advantage of it, as they did. A good drive Georgia Tech put together in a game that is, for all intent and purposes, over for them, but it's a way to show some life, some spirit, and get a good drive.
Going for 2 here. This would make it a 2-score game if they're able to convert here on the 2-point play, get it down to 16 points. I'm going to have to burn a timeout there with a play clock down to 1. Two timeouts remaining for Georgia Tech. While we have a moment here, let's do the Aflac trivia question. Heisman Trophy is named after former Georgia Tech football coach John Heisman. 3 schools are tied for the most Heisman's won with 7. Can you name them? And Mike, I can almost guarantee that you can name one of the three.
Notre Dame. See,
now the other two.
That's
the other two.
I was the king of partial credit. USC.
Is that a question or an answer? Were you asking me, or is that your final answer?
Well, it depends on when we see the final answer. If it's up there, then yes, it was part of my answer, which would give me 66%, which I know is not an A, but
that's why I asked if it was a question or your answer, because if it was the answer, it was wrong. 2-point conversion. Here's a pitch to Sanders on the end around, and boy, Kyle Hamilton throws him down to end that. There remains an 18-point lead for Notre Dame.
ESPN, home of the college football playoff.
First offensive touchdown of the day for Georgia Tech, but Notre Dame still in full command. Going to go to 6-0, playing Clemson, which will be without Trevor Lawrence at quarterback in South Bend next Saturday. That's a big story. Apparently also on social media, Marty and I are getting ripped for our candy picks.
Well,
again, though.
You should. You should. It's awful as we get ready for an onside kick here.
But again, Cracker Jack, I didn't say Cracker Jack. It was caramel corn.
Either way.
Cracker Jack and caramel corn are not the same thing.
Yeah, they're so bad.
Loose ball. Notre Dame had a chance at it, went right through the hands of Kyron Williams, and Georgia Tech has it at the 43-yard line. Recovered by Curry for the Yellow Jackets.
So that was an excellent kick as it was rolling. Remember, the kicking team can't get after it till 10 yards, but the receiving team can. Kyron Williams came up and tried to recover that at about 7 or 8 yards when only the receiving team could do it. He stepped up to make the play, and it bounced right off his chest plate. Excellent kick. And then that's what you have to do. You have to hope that somebody has a miscue on the other team, and they did. And by the way, if you're looking for feathers in the cap for Georgia Tech, that's certainly one of them. That scoring drive they just had, the first time Notre Dame has been scored on in the fourth quarter this year.
Sims dumps it off to Gibbs, able to break a tackle. And Gibbs picks up the first down. Boy, that failed two-point play. If Georgia Tech were to score on this drive, that failed two-point play could end up being huge because it would have made it a two-score game. Still got to convert a couple of two-point plays. But if nothing else, Georgia Tech building for the future here.
To your point, too, Dave, I mean, this defense, Notre Dame defense, had been playing great all game. And now, letting the touchdown drive go, letting the start of a drive starting well there for Georgia Tech.
The previous play is under further review for potential targeting.
Oh,
okay, boy. We had replay create targeting earlier, and may happen here as well. A hit by Kurt Heinisch, we're being told, on the quarterback Jeff Sims is going to be reviewed here, initiated from the booth.
No way that'll be targeting. So that won't be targeting. Notre Dame has already had a player, Maris Leofau, who has been disqualified from the game, will miss the first half of next week's game. You see his helmet, he plants it right in the chest. Now, will it be, well, I shouldn't say that won't be targeting because it was a quarterback throwing the ball. Did he drop, hit with the crown of his helmet? I know he didn't hit the head.
Right, but I didn't see the drop of the crown of the helmet or
I didn't
the
either.
attack.
I didn't either. I completely agree. I do not believe this is going to be targeting.
And boy, if that's targeting, how do you hit a quarterback anymore?
I'm with you. I mean, it certainly, he didn't drop his head all the way down. It looked like he put his face mask into the chest.
But this could be big if they do rule it targeting, because you talked about Leofau missing the first half next week, and now it would be Heinisch missing the first half of the Clemson game next week.
After further review, there is no targeting on the play. First down.
You know, whether you talked about with the crown of the helmet, it wasn't. If it's a defensive player, is the attack at the head or neck area, it wasn't. Nothing met the criteria there for targeting.
First down at the Notre Dame 42. Pressure off the edge here. The blitz is picked up. Sims in trouble and sacked, though. A flag is down. Adi Ogundeji with the sack there for Notre Dame. The captain had 2 coming into today.
And
this play will stand.
Yep, holding on Georgia Tech, the 5th sack of the day.
Number 57, offense. Penalties decline. Second down.
A guy the coaches have said in Ogundeji that has kind of played in the shadows of other stars. You see some of the stars on that defense. He's kind of been in the shadows guy, but is a leader, a captain, as you mentioned. 2 sacks against Florida State. And a nice edge rush there.
Graduate student from the Detroit area, West Bloomfield, Michigan. On 2nd and 14, Sims throws it over the head of the intended receiver, McCollum, who was open, but there was a lot of pressure on Sims. Let's answer the Affleck trivia question.
Notre Dame, Ohio State, Oklahoma.
Okay, you got it. You got it.
Yes.
Eventually.
Okay, how about that? And nobody told me. Maybe.
You had 8 minutes to think about it, because we teased that with the question, and you had thrown out USC.
Dave, I'm just going to flat out ask you. Are you saying I cheated?
I don't know. Again, you had 8 minutes to look it up.
I can either. Let me just say this. I did not look it up. That's the truth.
But does that mean you also weren't texted the answer from?
Okay, so that
friend? Was there a phone a friend or a text a friend involved?
That's why I love my wife.
Georgia Tech going for it here on 4th down and 14 in Notre Dame territory. And Sims got hit. The ball came out. It's ruled a fumble. It's picked up by Sean Crawford. Taking it back inside the 25-yard line. Dalen Hayes had pressure. Hard to tell if it was a fumble or if the hand was going forward, but the ruling in the field is a fumble. And Crawford with the run back of some 30 yards.
Another outside
ruling
rush.
On the field is a fumble recovery by Notre Dame.
Another outside rush on Jordan Williams. So I think that's going to be an incomplete pass. If it was a forced fumble, it would have been his 3rd sack. Let's see if his arm is going forward. Yeah, his
the previous play is under further review.
That's going to be an incomplete pass. I'm pretty confident it's going to be that way.
I agree, unless you can't tell if the ball was starting to come out of the hand on the hit by Hayes. That would be the only thing, if the ball started to move, if it came out of the hand, and therefore it didn't really have possession as the hand came forward. But I'm with you. It looked to me like it was a forward pass.
Dalen Hayes having himself a pass rushing day today.
That seemed pretty clear, though, to be a forward pass,
yes,
so that'll get overturned. All right, our Pacific Life game summary with Notre Dame in command, about to go to 6-0 on the season. Book, not spectacular, but pretty darn good. Efficient. The defense was spectacular again today for Notre Dame.
Yeah, this defense has been fantastic. It really kind of reminds me a little bit, Dave. Again, in 2012, when Notre Dame was undefeated, played for the title, I had my 2 sons on the team then. That was a defensive-led team as well. The offense for a while was averaging over 200 yards rushing and 200 yards passing, just like this offense is doing right now, 207 passing and 231, I believe it is, rushing. You see that at this point they're under 200 yards passing. I see the similarities there, but this Everett Golston was the quarterback then. Ian Book's a better passer.
After further review, it was determined that it was an incomplete pass. It will still be 1st down for Notre Dame. The ball will be placed at the 46-yard line in the left hash. 1st and 10. Please set the clock. 5:38.
So I look at those comparisons with Golston and the way Ian is a quarterback. You know, Golston could run well. Ian was a better thrower and runs well. And Tommy Reese, the old coordinator now, was kind of the out of the bullpen guy that year that came in and definitely saved more than a few games for Notre Dame. But it was definitely a defensive-led team like this one is. Though that 2012 team and this team both run the ball extremely well.
Notre Dame just going to keep it on the ground here with 5.5 to go. Flemister being pushed to the perimeter and thrown out of bounds by Caleb Oliver. You talked about Tommy Rees. I think this is really interesting, right? Going into this Clemson game next week, you have a 28-year-old, first year as an offensive coordinator. He's been on staff for only 3 years. Was a grad assistant at Northwestern, 1 year with the Chargers with Mike McCoy, Ken Whisenhunt, John McNulty, who's now on the Notre Dame staff as a tight ends coach. Brian Kelly told us he wanted the quarterback coach to become the offensive coordinator, so Tommy already had a leg up on the competition. But this will be really interesting to watch the play calling, I think, next week against the Clemson defense. On 2nd and 9, they'll keep it on the ground. Flemister able to break a tackle and get maybe 2.
You know, and along those lines, as you mentioned, you wanted the quarterback to be the OC. And while it wasn't publicly said, it was at that World Camping Bowl in Orlando against Iowa State at the end of last year. That was kind of Tommy's audition. He was calling the plays there, and that was the audition that helped get him this job. And he did say when he was with the Chargers, he said he was absolutely humbled at learning so much more about the game of football and the depth that he needed to go in knowledge of the game to help him. He said it was immeasurable how much it helped him because he has not been a coach for a long time. But, you know, obviously played the quarterback position for a long time in Notre Dame, picked up great experience there, and is doing an excellent job. And I agree with you, as flag on the play and a tackle behind the line for Georgia Tech. Big test next week for his play calling in this offense next week.
Defense, 12 players on the field at the snap, 5-yard penalty. Repeat 3rd down.
And again, you know, the loser of the game next week isn't out of it because the top 2 teams in the standings with no divisions this year in the ACC will play for the ACC championship on December 19th. Obviously, the winner has a huge leg up on anybody else in the conference and maybe anybody else in the country. It'll probably be the best win this season. You can make the argument Alabama against Georgia versus that, but whoever wins next week, even though Lawrence isn't going to play, it might be the best win in college football this year for whoever comes out of there with a victory.
Timeout, Notre Dame. First timeout of the half. 30-second timeout.
All right, let's take a look at the family of Georgia Tech's Tariq Carpenter as we honor those who served, brought to you by Navy Federal Credit Union. Tariq's mother, Demetria Fifi, is a retired staff sergeant from the Army. She was deployed in Kuwait, Iraq, and Afghanistan in the early 2000s. And Tariq honors his mother's service by finding a person in uniform pregame and shaking their hand. Obviously, a little bit harder to do here with COVID-19 going on, but always looking for ways to honor his mother, who is faithfully serving this country now for 2 decades.
Listen, we cannot honor the men and women who serve our country enough. I mean, it should be way more than we do, no doubt about it, for what they do and what they sacrifice for us. We can't thank you enough.
Carpenter, a senior at his final year at Georgia Tech. Notre Dame leading by 18, 3:34 to go. 3rd down and 2. That game next Saturday will be in South Bend. It'll be 12 straight wins for Notre Dame, the longest active streak in college football, as they get the first down here with Flemister to keep this drive going. Notre Dame has also won 22 in a row at home, and Clemson has won 39 consecutive regular season games.
Another interesting note, Brian Kelly told us this. He said in his tenure at Notre Dame, his 11th year right now, they've never had a top 10 team come to Notre Dame and play. I hadn't even realized that. They played them all when they've been on the road.
I could have sworn that Georgia, was top 5 a couple years ago when they went into South Bend. As Flemister here, able to shake a tackle and get the first down out to the 20-yard line. So we just found out before the 3rd quarter started that Trevor Lawrence will not play against Notre Dame. Here is Clemson head coach Dabo Swinney.
Trevor will not be able to play. Just want to go ahead and get that out there. He's doing well, but obviously there's a protocol in place, and so he will be out in time to play. But then you have the cardiac part of it that you have to kind of ramp back up. And even if he feels great and could probably go play, you know, he's not allowed to do that simply because of the protocol that's in place.
Offense, number 94, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
The cardiac protocol following the 10-day isolation period. It is possible, though, that Trevor Lawrence could travel, but he would not have gone through all the necessary steps to be eligible to return and play in the game.
And I think Dabo would love to travel him if he could, if it was safe. It was safe for everybody to help the young quarterback who's going to be playing.
Here's Book on 1st and 5, taking off. Stays in bounds and picks up the first down. Ohio State, Penn State come up later tonight on ABC. These are some of the impact games that should impact the college football playoff standings. We're still almost a month away from the first rankings from the College Football Playoff Committee. I think what's going to be really interesting for the committee, considering their decisions are based on the best teams. They pick the best 4.
Right.
How do you gauge Clemson if they were to lose without Trevor Lawrence next week and they end up just 1 loss on the season?
Well,
Clemson tackled for a loss here.
That's why I think even the loser of next week's game, if they were to win then the ACC championship, I still think they would be in the Final Four. And if it's possible, if the games are close either way and they split, could both teams possibly get in? So I do not think the loser of next week's game by any means is going to be out. I think they still will have an excellent shot to be in the ACC title game if they were to go the rest of the way. Notre Dame still has to play, obviously, Clemson and North Carolina, who puts up a ton of points as well. So still a ways to go.
Yeah, I mean, that game's in Chapel Hill, Thanksgiving weekend. You know, Boston College, it's a road game for Notre Dame. The Eagles have shown that they can play with the best teams in the country. Flemister breaking tackles. Come up just short of the goal line here. See if Notre Dame runs another play or not here with 30 seconds to go.
So my last note to you, Dave, and everybody is this is now the 17th time Notre Dame has played on on Halloween, and they will be 17-0. Going all the way back to their first game on Halloween in 1896 against Albion College in that hard-fought game that I watched tape of. They are 17-0 on Halloween, 13-0 since the AP poll was instituted in 1936. That's all I got for you.
That's pretty good. That's probably the best thing you said all day. 6-0 on the year now for Notre Dame, and 12 straight wins, the longest active win streak in FBS since a loss at Michigan Halloween week of last year. It'll be Notre Dame and Clemson. Top 5 showdown in South Bend next Saturday. (31-13) the final score. Hope you've enjoyed watching the ACC on ESPN. Coming up here in about 30 minutes, Big Ten football on ABC with Ohio State taking on Penn State. The contenders in the ACC, obviously Clemson. Here's the remaining schedule, including the game in South Bend. They still have to go to Virginia Tech. Notre Dame, we talked about some tough road games following the game against Clemson. The game with Wake Forest is a makeup game. And then let's not forget about Miami. 5-1 record for the Hurricanes. North Carolina taking on Virginia tonight and host Notre Dame Thanksgiving weekend. All right, let's check in with Marty, who's with Notre Dame coach Brian Kelly.
Thank you, Dave. Coach, 12th consecutive win, the longest streak in the country. Congratulations. What did you learn about your team tonight?
You know, winning's hard, you know, and look, I mean, I could sit here and talk to you about the things that we did well today, but, you know, our standard of play's got to be a little bit better. You know, we've got a great team. We're playing next week, and so we'll enjoy the win, but, you know, there are things out there that we can't let happen next week, obviously. You know, we cut a back loose on a blitz. You know, you do that against really top-notch teams, you're going to get beat. You can't turn the ball over the way we did on the 3-yard line. you know, you got to do those things. But I'll say this: these guys have done such a great job of winning consistently, and they understand that their level of play has to move up. Today was about the little details, and they have been great about the details. So we'll clean those details up, because their spirit and their want to is great, and we're excited about this football team.
You noted you got a big one next week as number 1 comes calling in South Bend. I don't know if you're aware yet, but Dabo Swinney announced earlier today that Trevor Lawrence will not play.
Well, I wasn't aware, and that's a shame, obviously, because you know, you want Trevor Lawrence to play in a game of this magnitude. You know, when you have 2 really good football teams playing, but. You know, look, this thing runs through Clemson, and I don't know if they won today. I don't know what the score of their game was. Do you know if they won today?
Yes, sir. It was a tough one. Boston College gave them all they wanted, but they did win.
So you assume that, you know, you're going to have to beat Clemson at least twice. You're going to see them again. So, you know, we got to take care of what we got to take care of, and that is we got to play a little bit better. But we'll be excited about being back at home and playing next week.
Grateful for your time and insight,
right.
Coach. Congratulations.
Thanks, Martin.
Enjoy it.
Mike, quick thoughts on that game next Saturday in South Bend?
Well, I mean, it just as Brian Kelly said, in the beginning of the second half, we started to see what he was talking about, performance over outcome. Wanted to see the team playing better, but then it backslid a little bit in that second half, and that's what he was talking about with Marty, saying, you know, against the better teams like Clemson next week, you make some of those mistakes, it's going to cost you big time. Not just yards, it's going to cost you points on the scoreboard. Those are the things he's talking about that need to be cleaned up.
All right, coming up next on ABC, Penn State, Ohio State. Coming up on ACC Network, it's the South's oldest rivalry game. 15th ranked North Carolina, certainly not out of the ACC championship race, taking on Virginia at 8 Eastern time. If you don't have the ACC Network, go to getaccn.com for instant access. Well, Notre Dame continues its march in search of its first national title in 32 years. Beat Georgia Tech today handily, has Clemson in South Bend next week. The Irish have now won 12 straight, the longest win streak in FBS. For Mike Golick, Marty Smith, I'm Dave Pash. Let's go to Kevin Agani now in the studio.